Good afternoon, distinguished guests, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Nicola and myself, I'd like to thank you for giving us the opportunity today to present to you a progress update on the master plan for Hatay. We've been working on this since September 23, and over a series of meetings that we had both in Istanbul as well as workshops in London, we've been developing ideas. We haven't done this by ourselves. We've been working closely and been supported by Bureau Happold, looking at infrastructure, the European economy and resilience, as well as MIC, our mobility consultant. One of the highlights along that journey surely was the presentation that we've been able to give in Singapore at the World Architectural Festival last November. My colleague Lucia there presenting our ideas of how we want to try and preserve the memory that's been discussed this morning already so many times, and create an urban form and the fabric that people both recognize, but also that deals with the important aspects of sustainability, resilience, and so on. We've been talking to experts, both internationally, to learn about other case studies of other cities where disasters have brought large-scale destruction. We've been speaking to experts and colleagues here in Hatay and in Turkey to understand and learn more about the city and the culture and the customs. We've convened our Turkish colleagues in the office to have a series of workshops to learn from them what's specific about the culture, to make sure that we can be as specific and sensitive as possible. And we've benefited from all the information shared by other colleagues, such as Inanç and his SOUR team, collecting the voices of people who've been affected by this disaster. We talked a lot about engagement today and the need to hear from people, and we've created an online platform allowing the people who are no longer present at the moment in the city to give us feedback, to tell us about what they loved about the city, their daily lives, but also what the pressure points were and what didn't work quite so well in a city that admittedly has developed very rapidly in the last 100 years, and the infrastructure maybe hadn't always been able to keep up. As designers, one of the main challenges we've got is finding that balance between replicating the old city, building back the memories, but also bringing in the best practice, the international knowledge that we have from other work, and making sure that we find the right balance between those two extremes. To sum it up, for us, the design is about borrowing from the city before the earthquake in terms of scale, spatial structure, but also striving to reinforce its local character and climate resilience. Design also enhances accessibility and inclusivity through the creation of new public green spaces, employment opportunities, efficient transportation, as well as community infrastructure. Together, we've developed 12 themes that were sort of guiding principles of the master plan, organized in five buckets, from the social economic resilience through climate, health, well-being, resource utilization, and heritage. Working closely with Bureau Happold, they helped us develop an idea of what the economy could be of a new Hatay, because we know that one way of bringing people back is to ensure that people have a livelihoods to come back to, that we can provide jobs, job security, and jobs with a future in today's economy. This became the ingredients that we used for developing the master plan. And as we developed the master plan, we wanted to put it on a solid basis and on a resilient basis. So as we heard already from Jem this morning, staying away from the known flood areas, stepping back from the rivers, creating these buffers along the rivers and streams. And then introducing more green spaces, these linear parks weaving along the rivers and the streams. Green space was limited before, formal green spaces, and we were able to double the provision of green spaces within the master plan through the provision both of large-scale linear parks as well as local pocket parks that not just provide spaces for people to live healthy lifestyles, but also provide safety and security in the event of an incident. We've developed typologies of green spaces, from small to large, from green to blue, and started to visualize what that spaces could look like if we start to reimagine the relationship of the water and the people along it and what the river edges could become. A city doesn't just need to be resilient, it also has to be efficient, and transport and mobility is a critical part of that. So working with mobility and chain, we've reimagined the public transport network, for instance, MRC has conducted a detailed study and analysis of the existing public transport network and proposed a refined and improved network that increases the frequency and provides overall a better service to the residents. And we started to rethink also what the relationship between people and the car is, making sure that the city is accessible easily, but also that we create neighborhoods which are really putting people and pedestrians first, that allow people to cycle in a safe environment.
So looking at the side of town outside of the priority zone, we did quite a lot of analysis to try and understand the strong point, the point of interest, the diversity of the scale and of the proportion of the city of street width. And so we started thinking about how we could create a strategy for the design of all the neighborhood which sits outside of the priority zone we see today. So the first idea was to understand out of this building which one we were able to preserve and celebrate them, because they will become some key elements for the memory of the people of these areas. After that, we thought about the idea of creating some boulevards where actually you can focus and create density of all the commercial area. The more active the boulevard, also the roads are faster. And opposite to that, you will see some more low-key areas where you find your local amenities. With the idea that, of course, we need to think about the city how it was before the earthquake, but also we need to think how we can enhance the experience of the people post-earthquake. So in our proposal, we thought about giving the opportunity to increase the infrastructural land for the amenities by up to 50% by creating this sort of network of roads. We also thought about creating some pedestrian route which run through the various neighborhood and plots. Route will have an element of low traffic, but also route will become fundamental in case of a future seismic event, because will become route for safety. You can see some idea we have about those, about creating pavings, landscape design, will actually become element the community can use, but the community will know that can use in case of a new event in the future. Element of safety. When you bring all this together, you will see we are trying to create a level of richness and connect this sort of superstructure of the parks and the green spaces which we saw in the city also within the neighborhood by creating these more alleyways connecting all these pocket parks. And after that, finally, sort of the final layer, which is sort of residential building which sit within this neighborhood. And you can see from the first images and pictures I show you to the final result here, we thought we really managed to keep in the strategy all the key aspects that define Antakya, but at the same time enhance the experience of the resident in the future. This is an image taken from an old street. As Bruno was saying, we looked at key characteristics, as you can see, highlighted the amenities, highlighted the green spaces, highlighted the commercial hubs. But what we wanted to do also is take all of this, keep it, but also improve it. So you will see in this next image, we widen the pedestrian ways. We created some, emphasize the aspect of the boulevard with the vegetation, give the opportunity to have sitting outside the various shop, reduce the dimension of the street, and hopefully, manage also to promote a way of transport which is more sustainable. And this will connect, forgive me, and this will also connect to the small pocket park and spaces I showed you before. And the idea is these spaces will become, a place where the community will thrive in the future. Thank you so much.